Hello everyone, Dr. Letterman here, and I wanted to do a quick unboxing of my Reed tool bag. This is something I carry with me all the time, and a lot of people are probably wondering just what's in my tool bag. So first off, this is the tool bag. You may notice that it's not your typical tool bag. This is actually a pencil case, so not anything standard, but does exactly what I needed to do, which is hold all my valuable tools. So let's go ahead and look inside. So as I open this, you see all these fun goodies in here. So let me start with my knives. So you can see I've got this lovely knife, and it is what we call just a chud now, actually. It's modeled after a Rigati knife, just a nice basic knife, really good knife for beginners to use. Now, if we stay on the same vein of knives, I also have, as this says, a Landwell knife. And the Landwell is one knife that many reed makers use. It has a really nice steel that they use for it. This is a older knife of mine, so you can see a lot of it has been reground away and probably needs to be replaced at this point. But very nice knife nonetheless. So I also have my favorite knife, and the one I use most of the time, which is my Rigati folding knife. I really love the handle and the balance on this handle, so I find myself using it a lot. And it's called a Rigati folding knife because I can actually fold this knife back in on itself, and I could just put this in my pocket and, I wouldn't need my little sheath here or anything like that. But that is my lovely reed knife. Now, moving in here, I also carry this, which is probably one of my favorite tools that I have. This is a Muse Echo. It's essentially a ruler, but it also does the diameter of the cane, and it's not just for oboe, but it's also for English horn. Really cool product in that it has these little notches that you can really quickly figure out when you have the tie at the right spot. So again, this is one of my favorite tools that I use in my bag. And so I also, of course, carry just a regular ruler. This was the first ruler that I ever got. And again, does the job, not super fancy, but wonderful ruler that I use every once in a while. And last, for my measuring, I also carry around a caliper. And this caliper, you can see, has a diameter gauge as well. I do love this caliper in the sense that it's compact and can fit in this tool case really well. And if I really need some great measuring, I can do that. So moving on into my toolkit, we're getting down to the bottom here. And I have with me at all times, I have two mandrels. I have my English horn mandrel, which of course, if I'm tying an English horn reed, I will use. And I have my oboe mandrel, both pretty much the same thing, but I, again, only use them when I'm tying. Some people will use them as they are scraping. My hands are too small for that, so I just have them when I'm tying. Now, getting down to the bottom, looks like I have an old reed in here. I was probably working on it with a student at some point. But I also carry a pencil. I've had this pencil in my case, I can't even tell you how long, but it's a very old pencil, and it does its job, marking on reeds and things like that. I always have at least one, if not two, screwdrivers. And the screwdrivers are really helpful if I find that my oboe has gone out of adjustment, or something has happened, or a student's oboe has gone out of adjustment. So I always have these two in there. This one came with my oboe and has a number of tips inside here as well. So I have some Phillips and things like that. So that's really helpful. And of course, a cutting block. The cutting block is very, very helpful, of course, when I am clipping the tip of the reed. So this is actually a bassoon one. It's bigger than the typical one, and I really love it. So that is my cutting block. I've got just a couple other things in here. I always have with me beeswax. I'm a very big fan of beeswax myself. I use it on the reed when tying so that I can get a good grip on the thread, actually. All right, we're getting down to the bottom. I've got a few other things in here. I'll strew them about. A few things here and a few things here. So these are the stragglers, as I will say. This is a really cool tool that a friend actually gave me. The tool works to put the tube in, and it kind of works as a mandrel as you're scraping. I think he 3D printed it, and it's really, really helpful if you start having hand cramps. I always have razor blades for clipping the tip or various other things that I may need. I really like the steel backed because they don't bend. I also have a number, as you will see, of plaques. These plaques are two convex and two flat plaques, and as everyone knows, we frequently lose our plaques. So having 4 with me at all times is always a comfort knowing that. I have an eyeshadow brush that I use to clean out the dust between my keys. So it's never far away from me in case I need to get that out because it's getting into the tone holes and such. I have an Emory board, conveniently from Avon, and of course it was from the winter season because there are snowmen on it. But what's really cool about this is I can shave a little bit of the reed off, maybe the tip or something like that, and it's really helpful. I also have always a piece of sandpaper. This is 600 grit, and it's really helpful also. And finally, the last thing I have is cigarette paper. I always have a piece in each of my reed cases, but in case I run out or need to get a new piece, I have it in my tool bag to use it and get that water out of my keys. And there you have it, everything in my tool bag.